watch it the whole time.
I have to watch it?
Watch them the whole time.
Well,
that's okay, though.
that's okay.
That's all right.
I guess.
It's not really all right, but I'll get over it.
Yeah, you know. One of these days we'll just have a whole studio and it'll be fine.
Yeah. We will. That'll be exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's acceptable. Okay.
Okay.
Well, this is a little bit better. I felt like that intro was really nice too.
It was.
I'm a little bit upset about that. Although I'm in a better mood than the last time that we had to do that many takes.
This is true. I can give you some more cake or something.
Yeah, well, the cake definitely helps.
Yes.
So anyways, welcome to Hip and Humble.
I'm Mom.
And I'm Aram.
I'm not Aram.
No, you're not. We're switching it up today. We're switching it up.
Yes, we are.
Yeah. Well, this is take 2 for us.
Take 2.
Yeah,
sometimes the computer does not work with it.
Yeah. But, one of these days whenever you guys really start, putting time and everything into us, we're gonna get us a little studio and so we can really hammer them out. But anyways, we can do that. Right now we are supported by Hip and Humble Antiques LLC. We've got 2 locations, one just outside of Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, in Bethany, Oklahoma at Rink Gallery. We have another one in downtown Fredericksburg, Virginia at Oldies But Goodies. And just a quick shout out to the Rink Gallery location. Right now she's doing Christmas in July.
In July.
And she has some fantastic pieces out and also
some really neat dishes and some goblets.
Yep.
And pilgrims, these really cool pilgrims.
Oh yeah, so these pilgrims.
I think I sent you a picture of those pilgrims. You'll have to put it on Instagram.
Yeah, so they are on Instagram right now, and they're also on our Facebook pages, both the Hip and Humble and the Changing Seasons Facebook pages. Those pilgrims are awesome, so definitely go down there.
They really are pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely go down there and check those out. We are also supported by the WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. It is a national online radio network with tons of great content and creators. They just recently had a live special that was talking that they had a doctor on that was talking about different remedies for, I believe, joint pain. It was it was really, really useful. It was a really, really interesting piece. So definitely continue to check them out. They have some really great stuff. They also play us twice a week. So if you're listening to us on there, hello. So last week we started talking about antique photos and Mom kind of got off track.
Did not get off
track. We didn't quite get as far as we wanted. Although we did talk about some really good stuff because
I don't even remember what we talked about.
Well, we talked about how to kind of restore antique photos and what to do if you have a bunch of them that you want to digitize, because a lot of people that have antique photos are going to be looking to do that, especially nowadays, because not as many people, we talked about this too, but not as many people are into scrapbooking or keeping actual physical photos as much as anymore.
No, I mean, and I do need to go in and actually print photos. I need to do that at some point. Mm-hmm. Because you guys do like going through the photo album.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, we talked about this last week, but there's something intimate about actually touching photos and looking at physical photographs together. Yeah, and for those of you wondering what the little sounds are,
I'm sorry.
Mom is sanding popsicle sticks.
Okay, sorry.
I'm not sure what for, but
would you like me to stop sanding my popsicle?
No, you can keep on sanding.
I am sanding my popsicle sticks because I am repairing this wonderful spool cabinet that I got. And
it's really, really cool.
A rotating spool cabinet. And so somebody painted it green it's a very old color green. So
color green.
It was probably painted at least 75 years ago. I would
yeah.
say at least 70 to 80
yeah.
years ago, if not longer. Anyway, they painted it, and I thought, you know what, I'm just going to take a chance. So I did a little bit of paint stripper over where I knew that the advertisement for the spool cabinet was. And it did come off. Some of the lettering came off on some of the back parts, but majority of it's on there. So it looks actually chippy because it is actually chippy from the old age, not from me doing it.
And it's really, really awesome. So it's the brand or the gentleman who owned it, the brand that it was Potter's Silks. So those of you that are Harry Potter's fans, it's not that Potter. It's,
no.
It was a gentleman from probably the beginning of the 20th century whose last name was Potter.
But inside of it is this, kind of spin thing, little round spin thing.
Spindle, yes.
Yeah. And you put the thread inside of it. It's spin it around to get the color that you want.
Yep.
So, but the bottom of where the thread, goes in the little chutes is missing the little stopper. So I have this wonderful braid idea that I am popping these little popsicle sticks in half, and I'm just kind of taking off the edges of the back, which really probably doesn't even matter. And then I'm going to glue them on the ends. And, so I have little stops so I can actually use it for thread.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, see, there's a method to my madness here.
I never said there wasn't. I just said you just hadn't told me prior to this.
I'm sorry. I thought it was more obvious since I have the spinner sitting here and you saw me sticking the popsicle stick up to it to see, but obvious.
I mean, yes, I have those clues, but I'm not going to make that inference.
Why not? I don't know why you didn't do that.
Anyway,
I only have a few more. And as we all know, I have a really hard time just sitting here, so.
Yes, she does. That was,
I'm sorry, pot. Were you the pot or the kettle?
Hey, I can sit down, okay?
Can you? Can you keep feet still?
I didn't say anything. Nobody said anything about feet.
There you go.
Nobody said anything about feet.
It comes out one way or the other, little boy.
Okay. Fair enough. But,
he's all hyped up. He's going with his beautiful bride.
That's true.
On vacation tomorrow, so.
Yes. So.
Another vacation.
Yes.
Number 2 for him. You know how many vacations Dad and I've had? 0.
Well.
We did have the wonderful vacation of whenever he had ankle surgery.
Well.
That was awesome.
I'll just have to pester Dad to plan some more.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Anyway.
No, but
they're gonna have fun.
Yeah, so we're going down to Charleston, South Carolina. Charleston, South Carolina.
Fun. It's a beautiful city.
Beautiful city.
Really beautiful city, great people.
Mm-hmm.
Good food.
Yes.
Really good food.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, and I feel a bit of the imposter syndrome, they say. I got a new promotion. So I got a new job.
Yeah.
And I'm in charge of things now. And it's a very much a big boy position. So it's it doesn't feel as real as other things have, I guess. Yes. So I'm excited to start it, but it is interesting I feel a bit detached. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You're just all a flitter for the new unknown.
I do. I love it. I
know.
I've always loved new things.
I know.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No.
We all need that sometimes. You always need a change.
Yeah.
You don't want to have the same stuff all the time.
No, not at all. Well, I heard once that most people in their lives will change professions anywhere from a complete
about 5 times.
Yeah, 5 times. So like a complete shift of professions, at least 5 times in their lives.
Yeah, that's what I've always heard, and I think for the most part that's pretty true.
Yeah. I think you have a certain skill set, and if you're passionate about that skill set, that you kind of apply it into different positions. But there are skill sets people are versatile, and skill sets apply over many facets of our culture.
Well, new opportunities come up.
Right.
You want to take advantage and stuff. And
yeah. I mean, some people move for locations. Some people there's some people that work because they like the work and they're passionate about the work, and there's some people that work because they like the place, and there's some people that work because they like what that work affords their family. And, people work for all different reasons, but, the main thing is that they work.
Well, yeah.
That's
and I tell you what, if you can't find work right now, you're not looking, because
there's a lot of work.
There's a lot of work, lots and lots of people looking for employees right now. So if you're not working, it's just because you don't want to.
Yeah, I will sympathize a slight bit and say that there are some positions that should be, that deserve more pay, but a lot of the positions that are being advertised that people are complaining about not being paid enough are not those positions.
Right.
There are positions, there are careers where people are underpaid, absolutely. However, most of the positions being advertised right now that people are complaining as to saying, they need to pay these workers more, it's like, that job is minimum wage for a reason.
Well, yeah. I mean, this is a whole nother can of worms.
It's a whole other can of worms.
Huge can of worms.
Huge can of worms.
And a lot of it just boils down to that, and I don't really understand why people can't do math. I mean, I don't math as a general rule, and I do understand this. Yeah. That basically, if you're going to raise, you have a minimum wage, so you've got this little building blocks down here. So
right.
You've got one little set of building blocks. So here's your minimum wage, entry level positions.
Right.
First job ever. That's it. Part-time job, just picking up extra money. That's what those are. When you want to make more money, then you have more experience, you have more education, you have more whatever, and you're at the next building block, and so on and so on and so on. Well, if you raise my minimum wage job, so now all the people that were on the second building block are now down at the first. And those minimum wage jobs that were there, that's going to go to those other people first and foremost. So now you've even got more unemployment.
So
it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
It hasn't worked. It's proven it hasn't worked.
So if you guys, so this is obviously not what we normally talk about.
This is not what we're talking about.
This is not what we normally talk about, but I will say this is something that I've read into a lot, and it's very interesting, especially right now, like especially in our culture right now, because there's so much confusion about the way that economy works and so on and so forth. And if you're interested in learning more, there's an amazing book that I read, and it's called Economics in One Lesson by Henry Hazlitt. Hands down one of the best economics books that I have read. It reads like a novel, but he's just a very, very good writer, very clear writer, and it's entertaining. Economics as a subject in school generally doesn't seem as entertaining, but his book is really fantastic. Definitely recommend it. And I won't go into too much other detail on economics because,
cause I don't want to.
Yeah, I don't want to. Also, I'm not really qualified, and that's not what we usually talk about anyways.
I don't want to talk about it.
No.
I do not want to talk about it, but there are jobs out there. Lots of jobs. Yes. Everywhere I go.
That was the main point. There are jobs out right now.
Yeah, well, and they are. I mean, everywhere we go, and even across the country. I mean, we were in Houston and back and forth. I mean, literally every state we stopped in, every place, there's a job wanted sign in the window. So.
Oh, no, I don't doubt that at all. I mean, they really are everywhere right now.
Yeah, they really are. It's just if you want to work or you don't.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's kind of the way it always is too, though.
Sure.
Yeah. Before we kind of really haven't gotten back to our original topic at all.
What was our topic? Do we
have
a topic?
It was antique photos. Yeah.
So we have a topic?
Yeah. Well, the problem with antique photos is that you could take a picture of everything.
Well, you can.
And photos are a window into a space and time that reminds you of a picture's worth 1,000 words, but I'd say it's worth a couple more than that.
Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely.
There's
much more nostalgia into it too. I mean, pictures are not only just a family, memory and that kind of thing. I mean, whenever like these photos that we have here in front of us, these are not our family.
No.
We don't know who these people are, but we have had such a best time going through a lot of these pictures Because it's like, oh my goodness, look at this. You know, look at this car.
It's like an investigation.
Well,
So it's like going through history and you're just trying to, I guess, based on the clues. Also, my man, John, excuse me,
Okay, careful. You got one picture on the back that's attached.
I see.
Yeah,
it.
I don't want that to unattach.
Okay, so John Soren from Little Falls, New York, and so this has to be the 30s because, or either the 20s or the 30s because that is a brand new Model T Ford. Brand new. I mean, it's still shining. So they didn't make those past the 30s. So I mean, that's gotta be back then. And my man looks fly. I mean, He looks good. He's got the shaved sides and the like straight jet black, hair.
Crillo.
Yeah. What do they call it? The duck back?
Yeah, they use that Brillo cream.
Yeah, the Brillo cream, straight back so it's shining. I mean, he looks fly. He looks fly. I would wear this today.
Would you?
Yeah. Honestly, I feel like
with your mom hair.
My mom's upset right now about my hair because
I'm upset with him because he walks in the house tonight with his head in a headband, and I just looked at him because I had my head in a headband, and I'm like, you know what? I'm sorry, you got mom hair.
No, she didn't say that.
And I'm gonna go upstairs.
She said, "I'm gonna go change my hair," and I said, "No, you shouldn't," because we were matching, but she didn't. She was not about it.
No.
She was not happy with that.
No. Sometimes as a parent, you do just kind of have to wait till these little phases themselves out. And they do. They'll always kind of work themselves out. You know, he's done this before where he'd had to well, I don't think Tavin did as much. Kale went through I want to have long hair phase.
Yeah.
Tavin didn't really go through that too much.
Yeah. Kale, Tavin really hasn't done long hair yet. I feel like he might once he gets out, if he gets out of the Air Force. Because most people, once they get out of the military, they want to see what their hair looks like after having only cut it one way for so long.
Well, but, you know, the thing is, though, even in the military, you can actually still cut your hair in different styles. It just has to be above your ears. It doesn't have to be a flat top. That was just what your dad chose.
No, but once you kind of get the one style that is in regs, it makes sense to just get that same one every time.
I didn't say it didn't. I just said that's a choice. So you can get a different style within regs.
Yeah, but anyways, that's a whole different conversation. And we were talking about our antique photos and the fact that my man's here was looking awesome in his in front of his 1930s era Model T Ford.
Yeah.
And cool. So it was really cool too because the gentleman standing in front of that car, he was in a different he was in a different photo set with another man who was standing in another photo with his sister. And so it's really cool because they're not from the same family. They
could be in-laws.
They could be in-laws, but they don't look blood related. Now that may not be true. They could be blood related, but
you never know.
That's the cool thing about these photos though, is that you see these different connections that you wouldn't expect in them, and it's kind of like investigating these little things.
But there's just a whole, this family, or I think it's a couple families that are in here, two of them. One of them is Jewish because the wedding picture he has a yarmulke on, so that was a pretty big clue.
Yeah. Either converted to or he is.
Yeah, one or the other.
Yeah.
But I do think that both of these families had to have been fairly wealthy families, truthfully. I mean, to have this many photos.
Yeah,
just
30s.
To have these many photos. And some of the photos are not
Great Depression.
Right. But I mean, some of the photos are not, I guess like my family photos and stuff, they would take pictures, just I guess everybody would be grouped together for one or two, pictures in front of the house or for holiday or whatever.
Right.
But they have, some in here that are more artistic.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of photos. And like one, he's got a picture of the cow.
Well, and there's another one where there's a picture, and it's kind of, it's a picture and there's three people painting in the picture.
Yeah.
And it's just their backs and facing their paintings.
And that's really neat.
It is really, really cool.
And and that's the kind of picture that I would get and I would keep because that would make a great just piece of art.
Oh yeah.
Definitely.
So a lot of the older photographs like these, they paint different pictures about the history, or the culture, and the older the picture, the more difficult it was to make.
Oh, sure.
So, pictures have been around, and the concept of pictures have been around since the 5th century BC.
It's a while.
Yeah. So people have been trying to imprint images that they've seen onto different surfaces to remember for quite a long time,
right.
For the considerable majority of human history.
Oh, we used to do when I was a kid. I remember in school we did sun photography.
Yes, and we're going to talk about that specifically when we come back from our break.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Kaylin, and I'm the host of a new podcast called Tea Time Thoughts. Do you ever wish you could learn more about history, books, music, art, and culture, but you just don't know where to start? I totally feel your pain. Learning about all these things can be so overwhelming. Well, I want to change all of that for you. In my podcast, Tea Time Thoughts, I'll show you just how fun it all can be. In the time it takes to have a cup of tea, I'm going to teach you everything from the French Revolution to the Black Plague, Mozart to Broadway musicals, Da Vinci to Robert Frost, ancient Egypt to Queen Elizabeth II, and more. You can stream Tea Time Thoughts wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. So what are you waiting for? Put the kettle on and listen to Tea Time Thoughts today.
All right. Welcome back. Welcome back to Hip and Humble. I'm still Aram.
And I'm still Mom.
And we are still talking about antique photos. And we are still supported by the Hip and Humble Antiques LLC. If you're not following us on Instagram, you're definitely missing out. We're putting out some really, really cool stuff, especially right now, cool antique photos.
Yes.
There are some really, really cool antique photos, and we are going to continue to put those up. We have quite a few to share, and they are really, really cool. And if you want to follow us on there, please do. I'm on there all the time, so if you comment or if you want us to talk about anything in particular, or you want us to try to find a certain type of antique or anything like that, then go ahead and comment on any of our posts or our stories, and I'll be there. I'll respond, and we'll get it cracking. So that's HIPN.humble. That's hipin.humble on Instagram. Also, if you really like what we're doing and you want us to see us grow and support us a little bit, go ahead and check out our Patreon page. That's patreon.com/hip and humble. And we are still supported by the WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. It's a national online radio network with tons of great content and creators. We're thankful to be on there, and we are on there twice a week. So thank you very much.
Yes.
All right. So we have been talking about antique photos, and we were getting into kind of the history of photos and the fact that the concept of photography has been around since the 5th century BC. And a lot of the first kind of photos were sun photos, which is something that you had an experience with.
Oh yeah, we did that when we were in school. So, basically, and homeschool too. Basically you get a piece of was that paper? Colored paper.
Yes.
Whatever color.
Parchment, whatever.
Well, what's that paper called? Construction paper?
Oh, I know what you're talking about. It is construction paper.
Yeah, construction paper. So red usually works really great, and black.
Yes.
Well, and green. Well, I guess red, green, blue. Not really yellow so much.
No.
Not the lighter colors. Get a dark color. Doesn't matter. Get a darker colored piece of construction paper. Put an object on top of it. Any object will do that you do not mind that it's out in the sun. Mm-hmm. It might get faded. And just put it on your porch in the sun. Put your object on there. Leave it out there for a day or two and come back. Take the object off. Bam.
Picture. Yeah. Yeah, so that
I thought it was cool.
So that used to refer to as camera obscura. So that was kind of the first camera. It used a pinhole in a tent to project an image from the outside of the tent into a darkened area. They did that it wasn't until the 17th century this process, they figured out that process they were able to make it smaller and small enough to be portable.
Right.
Yeah, because obviously if you are trying to photograph or obscure a very a large location or item or so on, those are pretty hard to move around.
Well,
especially when you don't have trains
Sure.
and trucks.
Sure.
And things of that accord.
Yeah. Stuff.
Yes. Yeah, a lot of modern amenities that we have grown accustomed to.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. But no, we used to do that. Of course, then you'd always kind of find out, the hard way of why you don't leave stuff in the back of your car.
Yeah,
it will be kind of sun faded.
Yes, indeed. Although
that's bad.
Not as much anymore. Well, some things. I mean, it depends. Like if it's like little plastic toys or things like that, they definitely will be.
Well, like little kids that leave their blankets back there.
Oh yeah,
fabrics and stuff like that.
Yep.
That's why when you go to the museums and just different places, they don't even really want you to do any kind of photography at all, because especially flash.
Yeah,
because it's will damage whatever it is.
The fabric.
Yeah, the fabric.
Because the flash photography is, I mean, it's a bright light. It's UV light, and so even if it's just a small flash of it, it's still that exposure. And if 1,000 or 1 million people come to that museum and they all use flash photography, then that's 1 million, half seconds of light that piece of fabric is being exposed to, and therefore deteriorating.
Yeah. Very true. Mm-hmm. Very, very true.
Yeah. Photography as we know it today actually began in the late 1830s in France. Joseph Nicephore used a portable camera Obscura to expose a pewter plate coated with bitumen to light. And this is the first recorded image that did not fade quickly. So a lot of the sun photos and things like that, you'll get, so they called it an Obscura because it's a shadow it's a shadow of the object. It's not the imprint of the object, where this gentleman was one of the first to use light to expose, which gave him a more accurate depiction of the item and also kept it on the sheet for a longer period of time.
Right.
So this was kind of the beginning to what we would now consider modern photography. So his successes in this led to a number of other experiments, and photography progressed very rapidly. Obviously, people had been interested in keeping photography or taking photographs or pictures or remembering things since, our species began. So whenever this innovation or whenever this breakthrough came about, innovations became very, very quickly because many people were very interested in it.
Well, sure, and a lot of people have a lot of ideas. They've already tried a lot of things, so you don't have to reinvent the wheel 22 times.
Right. Well, and we've talked about this before, but a lot of the greatest inventions haven't really been inventions of a new item, but innovations.
True.
More. The generally speaking, people have an easier time making something that already exists more efficient or better than coming up with a new concept.
Very true. That's very, very true.
Yes.
It is a lot harder to come up with just a brand new concept of anything.
Well, and to get it to stick. Because a lot of times, people come up with new projects and inventions all the time. However, getting people to use it is a different story and a different matter entirely.
Well, yeah.
Because you may invent the greatest cup that can allow people to stand upside down on their head, but not everybody wants to stand upside down on their head on a cup all the time. And, they don't see a reason for it, or they don't see, it's not an innovation to anything that they already use. So it's in a sense trying to reinvent the wheel.
Well, it is. Yeah.
Whenever you introduce a new item.
To me, it's kind of always easier, if I'm looking at something, it's always easier for me to look at something that's an idea that's halfway there or not or partially there, and to kind of chop it down into little bits. Okay, let's see what doesn't work. How can we change this? How can we make this better? And reinvent something from there.
Absolutely.
Than it is to come up with something totally on its own.
Oh, no, absolutely. I completely agree. I think, well, and what I'm trying to say is it's harder to get people to adopt a completely new idea than it is for them to see that an old idea has been made easier or more efficient.
Sure.
You know, to try to introduce an entirely new item into an economy, that new item has to fill a specific need. And most of the needs created in an economy are needs that are created from the use of things that are already in it.
Right.
You know, so it is a lot harder to develop and get people to use a completely new item versus innovating already existing items. And in the case of photography and like the iron we've talked about before, you know, a lot of these items that were they were innovated or built up from prototypes, for lack of better terminology, throughout the entirety of our human history. I mean, every culture from the east to the west and everywhere were trying to get their clothes to be able to look nicer for the entirety of, I mean, the Egyptians were trying to iron their clothes out. I mean, everyone likes to have nice, fresh, clean looking clothes and for their clothes to look nice after more than just one wear. And so, people forever have been coming up with different ways to freshen their clothes. And so the iron was more or less a natural evolution of our thought process. It just made sense. And then whenever that particular innovation to that idea came about, that made more sense to apply heat and a flat surface and so on. It just made sense.
Sure.
And then it was really easy to innovate from that point on. So, and in that same sense, photography was really, really quickly developed. And so there were different prototypes. They also had daguerreotypes, emulsion plates, and wet plates that were developed almost simultaneously into the mid to late 1800s. So we talked about before how the first one was the Obscura, which was
it's a pinhole camera.
It's a pinhole camera. Well, the reason that didn't stay was because it didn't have anything to bind to. The image didn't really have anything to bind to, and so whenever the light was introduced by our French gentleman Joseph, they figured out that the image could be transmutated onto a surface, and so then they started trying different surfaces very, very quickly. And with each type of emulsion, photographers experimented with different chemicals and techniques, and there are 3 that were instrumental in the development of modern photography. Photography was only for professionals and the very rich until George Eastman started a company called Kodak in the 1880s.
Kodak. I wonder if we've ever heard of that.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of it, but there is a very small company called Kodak.
Mm-hmm. my aunt and my uncle actually worked for Kodak, for Eastman Kodak.
I did not know that.
My Aunt Gloria,
I thought... So was that Ima and Yura that worked with alligators?
Oh, that's my Mima's sister.
Oh, okay. Okay, sorry about that. Again, we kind of got cut off there a little bit, but we were talking about the camera Obscura and its evolution into the pictures that we know today. And pictures that we know today, we were talking about George Eastman. Was that his name?
Yes.
I hope so, yes. George Eastman.
Eastman.
Mm-hmm. And didn't you have some relatives that, worked for Kodak? Yeah.
That part got cut.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, my aunt and uncle both did. So my Uncle Jim used to repair the machines for Eastman Kodak.
Oh, okay.
So at the little 1 hour, fix it place or where you go to get, your camera rolls developed.
That was big
in an
time
hour.
back then. I remember seeing those
expensive.
I remember seeing those 1 hour camera places. They weren't expensive by the time I was around though.
Well, I mean, no, not so much by then, it'd be like 99 cents a photo or whatever, which is pretty much what you can find them a lot of places anyway. But now, a lot of times it was kind of expensive to do. I mean, that's one reason why you guys don't have a ton of pictures from when you were little bitty was, we just had one camera and film was expensive to buy and to, get processed.
Yeah, well, that makes sense.
So and that really kind of deters you from taking a lot of unnecessary.
One more time. Sorry about that, folks. I keep getting cut off. We need you guys to get on our Patreon so we can get a new little recording device. But anyways, we were talking about George, not Thorogood, but Eastman, and he was a gentleman who started the Kodak company in the 1880s. And prior to him, there were not really anybody. There weren't, and people. The only people who could get photographs were rich people, basically.
Yeah.
Or professionals, people who had gone to school for it. Although I need to find out when they started teaching photography as a degree. I wonder.
Oh, I don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah, we do have it.
They used to have traveling photographers.
They just still do.
So, but I mean, they used to go like into country towns and stuff like that. And a lot of times you'll see old photos of little kids on horses.
Yeah.
And that's what they would do is they would have like a pony or something and they'd go up to like a door-to-door salesman, go up door to door and say, hey, I'm, photographer so-and-so and taking pictures and put them on the horse, take the pictures, they buy the picture.
It's so interesting.
Precursor to that annoying person at Disney
who wants to charge you $27
for Busch Gardens or Six Flags or
for a picture with a person who is sweating profusely underneath a suit.
Yes.
And kudos to that person, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah, that's we
are very sorry for you.
Yeah, I'm sure. Although, especially the Disney ones, I know they get paid pretty well.
You know what? My mother told me one time that I guess when you work for Disney or something as a kid, like you would go and they have like dorms you can live in and all that. And I thought that would be awesome.
That would be.
I would never want to do it for a whole career, but I'm like, okay, for like a college job, I think that would
be super cool.
Hoot.
Super cool.
That would have been fun.
Yeah, especially if it was a seasonal job. Like if you were
definitely
if you worked at Disney World, first of all, you're in Miami for the summer.
Yeah.
And you have room and board. Yeah, excuse me. Orlando. So, and you have room and board. You can go to the beach, in an hour in 4 different directions.
And I could potentially be Cinderella. So
that's also a huge potential to be an actual princess.
Yes.
So.
Very true.
Yeah.
Very true. I think that would be just like so much fun to do.
A hoot and a half, if you will.
It would be a hoot and a half.
No.
That is for sure.
Folks, we are running out of time. I don't want to cut it too short, but we're not finished with this topic yet again. Mom keeps getting us off track. That's what it is.
Yeah, it's my fault.
It is. Mm-hmm. It is. It clearly is.
Okie dokie.
I'm going to put up a poll on our Instagram, and we're going to see if people think that Mom is the one who gets us off track, or if Aaron is the one who gets us off track, and we'll see who's right.
Okay. We all know who's right.
Yeah, me, obviously.
Uh-huh. Yep, you with your mom hair.
Hey,
that's what it is now.
You're just upset. You're just trying to make me upset.
No, that's
so I cut
okay.
it.
I mean, people have always said that you look like me.
Yeah. Is that a bad thing? Are you upset by that?
No. Okay. No. Okay. Well, I will say this. I always say that the boys look now my husband deployed out all the time.
Yeah.
So I say, oh, those boys look just like you, until my husband came home and they go, okay, so you're the mom, right?
Yep. Well, it's funny too. it's weird. I feel like as married couples, they kind of, whenever you see two people next to each other, it's enough that they kind of look like each other a little bit in a very, like.
Do I look taller?
No. Not tall. I meant the face.
Hey, if we start looking alike, then I should be taller.
No.
Yeah.
No. Well, people say Catherine and I look alike.
No, you don't.
I don't think so either. People say that.
Although people say that you and your brothers all look alike, and I don't see that at all.
That's the other thing. Well, I feel like that's within any family, though.
Well, I mean, you can tell that you're brothers.
Yeah.
But they're like, oh my gosh, they could be twins. And I'm like,
nope.
Twins?
Nah.
No.
Not quite, no.
Not even a little bit.
No. Well, first of all, Kale's a little taller than me now.
I mean, I have 3 sons. I have day, night, and the eclipse.
Yeah.
And that's the way it is.
Yeah. Although, Tav is not the eclipse. He's not the most special. We don't need to inflate his ego any more than it already is.
Yeah, let's blow yours up.
Hey, I'm not opposed to that.
Yeah, I know you're not.
No.
And that would be how they're alike.
A little bit. And before I get brought through the mud a little bit more on that one.
Brought yourself through that mud hole.
Fair enough, but stay hip.
And humble.
All right, bye.
Bye. Oh, man, I got stuff on my shirt now.